Enroll now at Australia's Sydney Met and win a scholarship of up to $15,000. Apply today.
Tonight on First at 9 this Saturday the 6th of April 2024. Law and economics. Government to introduce economic transaction law next month, ensuring consistency of policy reforms, reveals the president. Towards stability. Sri Lanka to meet international bondholders for second round of talks in the US soon. Sri Lanka's Watergate. Entry to Sri Lanka Freedom Party banned following the initiation of police investigations into missing files at the SLFP HQ.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟම ඇති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Singh joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now in your top story tonight, President Ranil Wickremesinghe revealed plans to establish a new economic transaction law in May this year. He went on to say that setting up an export-oriented economy is crucial in order to find solutions to current economic woes. Speaking at a conference in Anuradhapura, President Wickremesinghe went on to say that the IMF is slated to announce that Sri Lanka is officially out of bankruptcy and that it will be able to pay off its debts within the next 2 months.
The Let's Start With Me Youth Conference was held in Anuradhapura this evening under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The years 2021 and 2022 will forever be etched into your memory. Living life was made extremely hard back then. We are currently establishing stability. The IMF will announce that we have made our way out of bankruptcy and that we can pay off our debts in 1 or 2 months. Now we must think of the future. What do you think is more important than our opinions? Please tell me your ideas.
අපි ඔබතුමාගෙන් දැනගන්න කැමති රජරට අපේ තරුණ තරුණියන් වෙනුවෙන් ඔබතුමාගේ ඉදිරි සැලැස්ම කුමක්ද?
What sort of future do you require? Are we going to once again fall into the same pit? Who is willing to remain there? They say they don't want to. Then ask all political parties to reveal what they think should be done. Are we to continue with the agreement we have reached? What is there for us in the future? A new economic transaction law will be established by May. We will be able to go forward once this is approved. I will obtain time till 2042 to remove a certain amount of debt which we have to settle. If we are to proceed with this plan, we must establish an export-oriented economy. A solution to the problem will be provided if we accept this and go forward. If not, we will be overwhelmed by slogans and various arguments which will make us forget what we need to do as a country.
රට මොකක්ද කරන්න කියලා අපිට අමතක වෙනවා.
New Dulux Pentolite Hygiene Plus. Refreshing walls for generations.
Now, as Sri Lankan students try to keep up with their international counterparts in an ever-evolving world driven by technology, President Ranil Wickremesinghe revealed plans to set up 3 more universities specializing in technology within the country. Speaking at an event in Colombo, the president also revealed plans to affiliate the University of Peradeniya with the world-renowned Indian Institute of Technology, Chennai, widely known as IIT Chennai. Further, President Wickremesinghe outlined the need to increase student registrations in all medical faculties across the island to keep up with the fast pace with which Sri Lankan doctors emigrate abroad.
The annual prize giving of Sirima Bandaranaike Vidyalaya Colombo was held today under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Addressing the gathering at the event, President Wickremesinghe revealed plans for the development of Sri Lanka's education sector.
I spent the most difficult chapter of my life not at Royal College, but close to Sirima Bandaranaike Vidyalaya. During the past 2 years, we have managed to gradually revive the country. This isn't enough. We have to walk along this path for the next 5 to 10 years. The most important phenomenon of modern education is that if we cannot update our knowledge, we will not be able to keep up with the world. If we train 100 teachers, all of them who become fluent in English will switch to the private sector. Only a few of them will remain with us. These are the problems we face. The cabinet discussed the possibility of using artificial intelligence. If we start to become proficient in the use of artificial intelligence now, we can develop even before India does. During my visit to India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi promised an affiliation with the Indian Institute of Technology, Chennai, for which we have selected the University of Peradeniya. When that affiliate institute is set up, we can develop it further. We have also earmarked funds from the Ministry of Finance to set up 3 other universities specializing in technology. One of those universities will be set up in Kurunagala, while another will be set up in Sitavaka. We will also set up the 3rd university soon. More non-state universities will also come up. The Sri Lanka Institute of Technology told me that they intend to develop into a university. If we are to create the human capital, we need to carry out these programs in every university. We will have to start an engineering faculty in every Sri Lankan university. We are trying to increase student registrations in medical faculties. We need to do that because a lot of doctors are emigrating from Sri Lanka. For the country to move forward into the next 75 years, we need to fix Sri Lanka's education system. Even though we have achieved economic stability at the moment, if we do not keep up with the latest trends and if we do not update ourselves with the latest knowledge, our economy will be ruined once again.
Now, the second round of talks with the Sri Lanka's international bondholders are expected to take place on the 15th of April in Washington before the spring meetings of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. According to Bloomberg, the first meeting between the bondholders and the Sri Lankan government, which was held late in March, concluded without a deal.
Bloomberg, quoting sources familiar with the matter, reported that global investors and Sri Lankan officials are expected to hold a second round of talks aimed at restructuring $12 billion in defaulted global bonds later this month. A group of bondholders known as a steering committee and government representatives came away from the first round of negotiations in Europe in late March without a deal. The sources that Bloomberg quoted revealed that they plan to continue the discussions around the International Monetary Fund's spring meetings in Washington, D.C., which will start on the 15th of April. Further sources added that government officials and global bondholders have discussed the issuance of macro-linked bonds as part of the restructuring. Those securities which link bond payouts to the performance of Sri Lanka's gross domestic product were discussed during the first round of talks as well. Meanwhile, recently, the International Monetary Fund expressed their strong expectation that the island nation will reach a deal with its commercial creditors by the completion of the IMF's second review.
Macroeconomic policy reforms in Sri Lanka are starting to bear fruit. Commendable outcomes include rapid disinflation, robust reserve accumulation, and initial signs of economic growth while preserving stability of the financial system. Public finances have strengthened following substantial fiscal reforms, and it is critical that this reform momentum be continued. The next steps on the debt restructuring are to conclude the negotiations with external commercial creditors and to implement agreements in principle with official creditors. The domestic debt operations, part of the debt restructuring, are largely completed, and there is a strong expectation that agreements with commercial creditors consistent with program parameters will be reached by completion of the second review.
Now, the National Security Advisor of the White House, Jake Sullivan, expresses his interest in maintaining an ongoing engagement with Sri Lanka in order to collaboratively pursue peace and security in the region. Those thoughts were expressed by Jake Sullivan to President Ranil Wickremesinghe's advisor on national security, Sagala Ratnayaka, during a telephone conversation yesterday. Discussions between Sullivan and Ratnayaka focused on areas of bilateral engagement, including U.S. support to Sri Lanka's security and sovereignty, Sri Lanka's ongoing efforts to complete its fiscal, monetary and governance elements of its IMF program, and future opportunities for cooperation. Now, in other news, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara discussed the progress of the power sector reforms with Director General of the Asian Development Bank, Takeo Konishi. During the meeting, which took place recently, discussions also focused on policy loans to be extended, ongoing programs with ADB funding, including the Moragula hydropower plant, and renewable energy programs to be structured. Further regional power cooperation and new finance schemes and grants for rooftop solar for SMEs and low-income groups,
and the technical assistance available for the power sector were also discussed. Now, in your political news, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa claimed that he will guarantee the security and protection of war veterans following the SJB's election victory by the end of this year. Addressing an event in Matale, the opposition leader, who highlighted that most of the people have forgotten the service rendered by the war veterans, claimed that they should not be deceived further.
The 5th summit of the war veterans who joined the Samaga Jana Balawega was held today in Matale.
It is very disappointing to see that many have forgotten the service rendered by our war veterans. I remember the protest launched by the disabled war veterans at the Fort Railway Station premises. After discussing with them, I got a thorough understanding of their needs, and I also promised to help them meet those needs. Both Mahinda Rajapaksha and Kamal Gunaratne also went there. Disregarding the promise I made, the war veterans believed what they said. But what has happened today? War veterans remain vulnerable even today. I urge all war veterans to not be deceived again. I would like to state that your security will be guaranteed with the SJB's election victory by the end of this year. Welcome back now, taking you straight to some hot political news right after the break. Maradana police today initiated investigations into the files misplaced from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party headquarters, closing off the premises for all SLFP party members and prompting subsequent outrage among the members of the party. This comes after a police complaint was lodged with the Maradana police yesterday by Acting General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Dushmantha Mitrapala, who claimed that several important files have gone missing from the party headquarters.
The Colombo District Court issued an interim injunction preventing former President Maithripala Sirisena from functioning as the chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The relevant court order was issued after another former president and senior advisor to the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, filed a case against Sirisena over his purportedly responsible discharge of duty, which allegedly caused damage to the party. The parties who launched legal action against Maithripala Sirisena held a news briefing at the Sri Lanka Freedom Party headquarters after successfully obtaining the order restraining former President Maithripala Sirisena from functioning as the chairman of the SLFP. However, yesterday, Acting General Secretary of the SLFP, Dushmantha Mitrapala, lodged a complaint with the Maradana police, alleging that several important files were missing from the party headquarters. Following the complaint, Maradana police initiated investigations at the SLFP headquarters located along Dali Road, Colombo 10. Accordingly, the authorities cordoned off the SLFP headquarters and prevented all party members from entering the premises until the conclusion of the preliminary investigation. Prompted by the restriction of access to the party headquarters, a protest was organized against the move, as the Acting General Secretary of the SLFP had called the seat organizers to the party headquarters for an emergency meeting this morning.
ඒ පැමිණිල්ලෙන් පස්සේ ඔබතුමා දැන් අද අපිට බැරිගේට් දාලා ඔබතුමා කියන්නේ ඉන්ක්වයරිට බාධා වෙනවා ඒ නිසා අපිට යන්න බෑ කියලා නේද හරි එතකොට ඒ පැමිණිල්ලෙන් පස්සේ ඔය අනිත් දිශ කියලා ප්‍රෙස් කන්ෆරන්ස් තිබුණා ඒතර එතකොට ඩැමේජ් වෙන්නේ නැද්ද බාධාවක් කියලා කියන පැතිරෙට ගියොත් බාධා වෙනවනේ ඉතින් දැන් අද පොලිසියෙන් ප්‍රකාශ
Now the police have claimed that they initiated investigations consequent to the complaint filed. Because of that, no one can enter the premises. If the organizers of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party cannot enter their own headquarters, we will conduct our meeting on the streets since we don't have any other option.
SLFP's Acting General Secretary Dushmantha Mitrapala and son of former President Maithripala Sirisena, Daham Sirisena, who serves as the SLFP organizer of the Polonnaruwa West electorate, were seen at the premises.
I will not surrender the party to those SLFP members who decided to join the government. In the past few days, a group of people have entered the SLFP headquarters in our absence and have caused severe damage. Today, the police have gone a step further and have barred us from entering the other building of the SLFP headquarters. This is very shameful.
Former General Secretary of the SLFP, Dayasiri Jayasekara, also visited the party headquarters.
They're trying to ally this party with the government. Maithripala is in the opposition, Mitrapala is in the opposition, and I am also in the opposition. 9 members of our party joined the government to claim ministerial portfolios. This party cannot be manipulated according to their needs. 3 or 4 people have taken several documents of the party's general secretary right after their press conference here. Who's responsible for that? If they are loyal to this party, would they do such a thing?
Despite our personal opinions on the matter, we are all ready to protect this party and its members.
Amid escalating tensions, former President Maithripala Sirisena was also seen at the SLFP headquarters today. In the meantime, State Minister Lasanthala Giyawanna expressed his views on the allegedly misplaced documents of the SLFP.
They have not specifically mentioned which documents went missing. Therefore, the police have the responsibility of conducting those investigations. Consequently, the police have launched a thorough investigations into the matter. This investigation was initiated after a police complaint was lodged by a group comprising the acting general secretary of the SLFP and Daham Sirisena. We completely refute those allegations. We would not even dream of harming the party or its headquarters in such a way. We do not have a need to act in such a way too.
The SLFP headquarters has been temporarily closed off at the moment. We have informed those who locked the premises to come forward with the keys. The Maradana police will launch investigations into the misplaced files once the keys are handed over.
Now in other political news, commenting on the recent developments in the political arena, General Secretary of the JVP, Tilvin Silva, claims that the NPP, with the assistance of the JVP, created a massive people's movement which may tip the odds in favour of an NPP-led government in the near future. Speaking at an event of the Janatha Vimukti Peramuna at Hinguragoda, Tilvin further spoke about his thoughts on the current issues grappling several mainstream political parties at the moment.
A special gathering of Janatha Vimukti Peramuna was held yesterday in Hinguragoda.
Right now, the political groups which govern this country are facing issues. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna possess the majority in the parliament. However, do they have that power within the society? They do not. It's the same with the other political parties. Recently, Maithripala Sirisena, who is the leader of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, removed some of his party members who took up positions in the government. Later, they sought legal action. Chandrika Kumaratunga too took legal action and prevented Maithripala from functioning as the chairman of the SLFP. They are not focused on securing the power of the country. They want to secure power within their party. All of you know that Dallas Alha Peruma resigned from the government and formed a group named Freedom People's Congress. 4 of that group, including GL Pieris and Nalaka Godaheva, joined the Samagijana Balavegya and signed an agreement with Sajith Premadasa. At the same time, some members of the SJB say they cannot move together with them and that they will join someone else. I think they are planning to join with the UNP. At a time where political parties and factions are dismantling and disintegrating, the Nationalist People Power with the assistance of the JVP created a massive people's movement with the hopes of securing power in the country.
Now, in your top business story of the evening, Sri Lanka and Switzerland agreed to work towards and explore diversifying trade relations and further potential in the tourism sector. This agreement was made by both parties during the 4th round of bilateral consultations, which took place between the delegations of both countries in Colombo. While discussing the potential to further enhance economic relations, Sri Lanka appreciated the Swiss assistance extended to the Export Development Board in identifying further markets for Sri Lankan exports and proposed collaboration in the textile industry as well. The meeting also considered collaboration on educational research and innovation, particularly exploring avenues for joint research and connectivity between universities. Opportunities to collaborate on environment, climate change and sustainability were also discussed. An agreement was made to hold the 5th session of the political consultations in Bern in 2026 as well.
Now providing opportunities for Sri Lankan businesses, the commercial bank enabled Alipay QR code payments under Unified Lanka QR. Meanwhile, DFCC Bank was honoured with the Gold Award for Financial Institution of the Year for the financial inclusion at the recently concluded Lanka Pay Technovation Awards. With that, here's a look at more corporate news in brief.
The commercial bank opened up new opportunities for Sri Lankan businesses by becoming the first bank to enable Alipay QR code payments under the Unified Lanka QR. The bank said more than 500,000 of the bank's merchants will be enabled to accept Alipay QR when the bank completes the deployment of the new QR across its network, facilitating access to a vast new customer segment. Alipay e-wallet holders can now scan the commercial bank Lanka Pay Unified QR code issued to Sri Lankan merchants to make payments from anywhere in the world as a result of this latest development. In the meantime, DFCC Bank was honored the Gold Award for Financial Institution of the Year for Financial Inclusion. DFCC Bank also received the Merit Award for Best Common ATM Enabler of the Year in Category B. These awards underscores DFCC Bank's commitment to being the bank for everyone, envisioning a sustainable future of financial inclusivity driven by digital enablement. In other corporate news, Bogavantalawa Tea Estates plc announced a change made to its directorate. Accordingly, GVM Nanayakkara resigned from the position of independent non-executive director from the 31st of March.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Derana First at 9. Stay in touch with us on www.adaderana.lk for the latest developments around the clock. Thank you. Have a great night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit adaderana.lk.